We're continuing our subject on soul prosperity. 3 John verse 2 said, "Beloved, I pray that you prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers." We're continuing in the premise that just as your soul prospers, you prosper and are in health to the degree that your soul prospers. So the limitations of our resources in our lives is a result of the limitations in our soul and not in our circumstances. If we're going to prosper in our soul, we need mind renewal concerning money itself. So let's consider some facts about money. First of all, money is the thing in this natural world that most closely resembles your life. Every week, whenever you trade 40 hours of your life to make that money. And that's why when we honor God with our money, we are honoring God with our life, because it represents our life. The difference in murder and theft is a matter of degree more than a matter of nature. So when somebody steals from someone, they've stolen part of their life because they traded their life to get the money to get that thing. So if they steal money, and that's why it's so immoral for the government to take from people and steal from people and give to people that didn't earn it. It's akin to murder. Next thing, money is spiritual. I want to credit this next part I'm going to talk about to Rabbi Daniel Lapin. He's a Jewish rabbi that's tremendous in ancient Hebrew, and he's written books on how to apply ancient Jewish wisdom to prosper. But money is spiritual, and that doesn't mean that it's necessarily godly or ungodly. It's spiritual. A lot of times spiritual things are either godly or ungodly depending on how they are used. Just like music is spiritual. Not all music is godly, but all music is spiritual. That's why money is so hard to define. What is money? Is it the little strips of paper that you carry around in your wallet? Is it the little discs of metal that you have in your pocket? Is it that magnetic strip on the back of your credit card or your debit card? What is it? Well, that's why it's so hard to define, is because it's a spiritual force. It's a spiritual substance. Rabbi Daniel Lapin, he uses this illustration to demonstrate how it is spiritual. He talks about his granddad was a peddler, and he would go into a town and say, this is just an oversimplified example to illustrate the point. So he would knock on a door and he would say, "Do you have anything that you no longer want?" They say, "Yeah, we have this table. We're going to have the city haul it off." Are they going to haul it off for free? No, it's going to cost me $5 for the city to haul it off. He says, "Well, how about I give you $5 for it and take it from you?" So he takes this table, goes down to the hardware store, buys some paint, buys some nails, repairs the table, then knocks on another door. Say, "Does anybody need a table?" And as it finds out the daughter's getting married, and she said, "Yeah, I was going to go down to Ethan Allen and get a table." He said, "What were you going to pay for the table?" $20. "Well, here, I have this table for $10. Now I've repaired it and I've repainted it and things like that. It had a bad leg, but I've repaired it." So she says, "Well, that'll work. That'll be a great starter table." So she buys the table. Now, this is what demonstrates that money is spiritual and not just a natural thing. So how much did the first people increase? You want to say $5 because he gave them $5 for the table. But actually they were going to have to pay the city $5 to haul it off. So they have increased $10 as a result of that peddler knocking on their door. Then he goes and he sells it to somebody else who was going to pay $20 for a table, but now they only had to pay $10. So now they've increased $10. And also the rabbi increased $5. So here you have 3 different people that are better off as a result of that transaction. But see, those that have a shortage mentality cannot believe that. They say you cannot increase without taking from somebody else. Matter of fact, the terminology we use a lot of times when they're interviewing a successful businessman, they'll ask him, what are you doing to give back to society? What is the implications of that, to give back to society? The implication of that is that anything you have that you stole it from somebody else, so now you have to give back. But as we see from the illustration of Daniel Lapin's granddad, all three people increased. And that's not to mention the hardware store, they increased. And if he has to stay in a hotel that night, they've increased. Everybody involved has increased. So in a very real sense, they created increase. See, material things can only be in one place at one time. A good illustration that Daniel Lapin uses is a birthday cake. You know, if you have a birthday cake, you have a birthday cake, and then you have candles on that cake. Say we have a cake and they have figured it down to every person. If I want to have an extra piece of cake, then I'm going to have to take a piece of cake from somebody else. I'm going to have to take your cake, or I'm going to take their cake in order to get that cake. However, the candle on the top, you can take one of those candles and give light to every one of those other candles. And so that next candle receiving light from the first candle did not take away from the first candle. So not only have you not taken away, you have created more light. You've created more light in the room, the more candles you light with that initial candle. That's the way money works in God's system. Now I realize there's always abuses, and it's not to say that nobody has ever ripped anybody off ever. But the thing is this system is kind of self-governing. I know of a business where the guys were sitting around bragging about how they had ripped everybody off and everything, but you notice they were sitting around bragging about it. They didn't have any business. And this was in a large city of millions of people. And yet word got around. You know, you would think it would be obscured in a big city like that. But no, word got around, and now they're just kind of sitting around glorying about how they used to rip people off. So over time, you just can't constantly rip people off and prosper. This is the reason that in order for communism and socialism to work, they have to destroy the whole notion of God to make that deception work. Because communism will tell you, you know, in order for you to have, you have to take it from somebody else. But see, the way God's system works is we create new wealth. God will give you an idea, and just like the candle, it'll create new wealth. And I mentioned in a previous lesson why wealth distribution is not the answer. And another reason for that is a thing called inflation. And the best explanation I heard of inflation, I never quite understood it till I heard somebody, it was actually Bill Winston. He explained inflation. Say you have a glass of tea and you got the right amount of sugar and you got the right amount of tea. If you keep adding water to that tea, it's going to be less sweet, and it's going to get weaker the more and more water you add to that tea. That's the way it is with an economy. You know, if you just print money and you just give away money to people that don't earn it, then it weakens the power of that dollar. And that's the problem I have. You know, we pass laws and regulate laws that raises the minimum wage. Well, here's a good example, and this is also once again from Daniel Lapin. Say one day you get a knock on your door and you look out there and on your doorstep is $1 million. And you think, oh great, and it says from the government, $1 million, you know, a gift from the government. So you're happy and you call your neighbor just to find out they also got a duffel bag with $1 million in it. And come to find out, everybody got a duffel bag with $1 million with it. And initially, you're happy. So, well, I got $1 million, everybody else is. The problem is you won't be happy when you go buy that sports car you've been waiting for, because once everybody has $1 million, then the cost of that sports car is going to go up. And so now it's just like you didn't get the $1 million, because the cost of everything has gone up, because the power of that dollar is weakened, because you have distributed that dollar with no meaning. However, whenever we follow his Grandpa Lappin's system, all those people increased, all those people came out better, and it will not inflate the dollar, because it's something they earned and it's something they worked for. So the next reason that wealth distribution won't work is in Proverbs 24, verses 30 through 34. He says, I went by the field of a lazy man, and by the vineyard of a man devoid of understanding. And there it was, all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down. Then I saw it, and I considered it well, and looked on it, and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. And so shall your poverty come like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. See, there's the next reason. If a person does not renew their mind to prosperity, they will not take care of what they receive. You know, you could give a Mercedes to somebody who has a poverty mentality, and they won't maintain it. They won't take care of it. And before you know it, it'll just be a rusty piece of junk. They have built these multi-million-dollar complexes for poor people to live on. And before you know it, it's destroyed. It has graffiti. It's torn down and trashed. Why? Because they didn't earn it, for one thing. They didn't do anything to earn it, so it has no value to them. And also, their surroundings will eventually mirror what's on the inside of them. Because they are all broken down and they're all in turmoil on the inside, they will end up destroying everything that they have. It will actually mirror what's on the inside of them. And so that's why the answer is not just throwing money at the problem. We have to teach people to appreciate. We got to teach people to work for things and work and take care of what they have. Because if you don't work and take care of what you have, it's just going to be destroyed. So thanks for watching. God bless.